Hi guys, it's Kat. I am here to show you how I put fabric on the two side spines and the main spine and to mat the file folder junk journal. Okay, so you just need to cut a couple strips of fabric, your choice. I would not use an extremely heavy fabric here because it will cause more bulk. So this is just a couple strips of thin muslin fabric that I have. And yes, I cut it too long, but I am going to cut it off with my scissors when I'm done. And all I do to get the glue to run is use a little bit of art glitter glue. You can use Fabri-Tac. I don't because it gives me such a bad headache. But you just take a thin layer. And remember, with art glitter glue, less is definitely more. And then you're going to line, and I am sorry about the shadows. It's one of these days I'll get me some better lighting, but today is not that day. But I'm just going to press that down into my art glitter glue so that it can grab. Now remember, with muslin, it will pull, but that's okay because it's going to be trimmed off, and it's going to have a mat over top of the edges. We're really doing this just to give a little bit of stability and extra strength to this fold of this file folder, just to make it last a little longer, you know, because wear and tear on paper, it will eventually fall apart, so you need some extra strength. Okay, that's all I did there. Now the other piece of fabric that we're going to use for the main spine, I am going to put that on the outside of my mat because I personally like the way that looks. I don't know where I put my good scissors. So we'll just use these because all I'm doing is cutting this fabric off to the edge of my file folder without cutting the file folder. That just gives it, don't throw that away because you can stamp on it and you can do whatever with it. Okay, so there's my mat. This muslin aside, and then we are going to use, I have a mountain here beside me, so if it crashes, don't be surprised. We are going to use this pink rose fabric. Sorry, that's my dog. If you hear somebody, if the dogs start barking, I'm sorry. My husband's getting ready to carry in wood. So I went through and I measured all of the places I need to mat. Close my glue. Okay, so you're going to definitely need your paper trimmer. Yay, I didn't call it a cutting board. Don't ask me why I was doing that the other day. But you just measure so that you leave like an 1/8 of an inch edge all around the corners, okay? All around the mat. So I measured this one. It's going to be 3 7/8 by 7 7/8. So I can cut my first sheet of paper at 7 7/8 and to get my mat out. But I will need 2, 2, 2, and 2. Each one of those has 2, and then this one will just have 1 because you're not going to mat the inside, if that makes any sense. So here we go. Let's cut this. And if it has a directional, make sure you follow that. You know what I mean? Like the direction of the print. Mine is roses and they're just clustered, so I need 7 7/8 by 4, and I need 2 of those. Actually, I need 4 of those. So there's 3. And I have, this is some paper that I bought a couple years ago or a year ago from Stampin' Up. And I was almost done with it, and I thought this would make a pretty cover for this file folder junk journal. There's my 4 of those. Then I need 2 at 3 7/8 by 7 7/8. So just a hair smaller. And these are double-sided, so I can use either side. And we've got a little strip left. Okay, so that is 6 of the papers we need. I just stack them out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and cut these down to 7. I just 7, and I think I cut those wrong. We'll see. And yes, I did. It should have been 7 3/8. Goodness, cat. No biggie. We just recut the bottoms off. Still use the extra papers. I must cut that one somehow. Okay, 7. What not to do when you're cutting paper. So anyway, you get all these cut, and if I could fast forward through this, I will. Because you're just cutting down the papers. Because our initial cut was 7, our fold was 7.5, and I forgot. Each file folder you do will probably be different, especially if you happen to buy your file folders at a couple different places. I've noticed that the ones from the Dollar Tree don't seem to be quite as consistent, for lack of a better word. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This one needs 7 7/8. Or 7 3/8. Good night. I did it again. Okay, so let's use those mats. We'll not try to cut them all at one time. That will probably be easier for our brains, especially mine. Okay, so this is, and you have to look closely when you do this to make sure you got the right ones when they're that close in size. So we're going to just use our art glitter glue. And I'm just gluing very little. You can, little goes a super long way with art glitter glue. And we're just going to line that up. Push it down into our fabric. This is going to be so pretty. But this one I did not cut yet, okay? So the right size ones. Yep, there we go. I'm out of frame. I know it's gluing for me, and frame is a hard thing to do. I don't know why, but it is. Okay. 1 7/8. I just said that wrong again. Pardon me. It's 4 by 7 and 3/8. I will have the correct measurements. Well, actually, I'm not going to put measurements in the description box. I will just tell you, you have to measure yours, because you may have measured a little different than what I did, or so you just have to measure and mat. Okay, so now this one, I want the curve of this piece here. So I'm going to take that back just a little bit, and I'm going to use my pencil, and I'm just going to trace the line I need that to be at and cut it off. You could probably use a corner rounder to get it, but we'll try it this way. Okay. So there, that fits perfect. And then we're going to put our spine fabric on before we start in the inside. And so you saw how I wrote on the actual file folder the measurements I did. That's just an easy way to keep track of what you need to measure. So then my spine fabric, I cut it at approximately 3 inches. So it had some overhang. And all I do, I go down the middle of the spine with my art glitter glue. I'll try to smooth it out just a tad, but you don't want too much because you'll remove all your glue. And then I put it down as straight as I can, pull it tight, and then I just kind of run my hand across it. That's just the center part. And then you're going to flip up the edges where you didn't get any glue. I'm not very precise. I just want it to be adhered, because you can go back and you can put ribbon or whatever, or you can actually do this step underneath your papers if you like that cleaner look. I want this to be a little bit shabby, a little more on the shabby side than clean lines. But if you get too much glue, it will show through. Okay. And just trim off the excess. So there we have our spine. And when you fold your book, get the fabric on the outside here so that it is finished there. Got my paper over a little too far. I didn't do a very good job of lining it up. So we're just going to trim off that excess paper. Your book will guide you. So there we go. There's that. And now I would take my mats, do my mats in the inside. I think I'm going to do the marble paper on this side. You can actually put fabric on the inside as well. I choose not to because, again, I don't want the bulk. You have a bone folder, you can use your bone folder instead. And then that's this one's. This one's a little longer video. I just want to show you the matting. And then I'll be done. And then I'll do a third one with putting signatures in. That might look cute that way. That one we have to cut again. And I think I want them this way. The trouble with double-sided papers for me is just that you're constantly asking yourself, which side do I want? Which side do I want? And usually they're both so pretty. Okay, one more. And we're going to line it up where I want it to be and draw my line. And then we'll cut that off. Well, we're going to have, I did that backwards. So, but that's actually not going to matter. I just have to trim that side because that's going to be under the pocket. So there we go. I just forgot to turn the paper over, so I did. We will actually run some lace or something there. And then you're going to fold these up because this is the inside. And you're going to cut mats. And this is what I thought I would do with these ones. Just turn them so that the roses carried through to the inside. So I need to cut those all at 2 7/8. Two of them at 4 by 2 7/8. So there's 4. 2 7/8, and then we'll find another piece to do the 2 smaller sides. 2 7/8. Okay. Let's go ahead and put those down before I forget where they go, because that's how my mind is. Again, I apologize for the shadows my light is creating. Now, I will not be sewing this on camera, but I will go all the way around this book cover, the cover here, with my sewing machine and stitch all the way around it. Okay. So now let's pick a piece of paper. This is kind of coppery, so I need this one to be 3 7/8 by 2 7/8. And one that is 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, because the little piece is smaller. Okay. The school or cutting. See, I just did it again. The paper trimmer out of my way. Put the glue on here, and this is going to be for this little square. And we're going to decorate these up. And this one is for the other square. So now you would take your sewing machine and you'd put this in your sewing machine like this, and so you're stitching around the entire thing. Leave your flaps out and sew across here and here, and then I go down each side of my spine. Okay, then I'm gonna flip these up and glue them down so that they will be adhered. You can do just one side, which I did on the first one, and then the others I did them all. So that is how you mat your cover, and I will be back with another video about how you do the signatures and show you how I sewed it. Like I said, I can't sew it on screen. I'm not set up for that. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.